Shocking news came out today of Bob Arum claiming Tyson Fury versus Wilder Trilogy match is not going to be next. According to Bob, Tyson Fury is going to have a tune-up fight in the UK on December. Then he will turn around and face Anthony Joshua come April or May 2021. So according to Bob, the Wilder Trilogy fight is off the table. However, sadly for Bob, there have been multiple conflicting reports. To no surprise, Bob Arum making his statements is one thing, but for them statements to be actually true is another. At this point, it ain't no secret. Tyson Fury been trying to get out of the Deontay Wilder Trilogy match from the jump, in which I'ma dissect that in a little bit. For the meantime, we could all agree that Deontay Wilder want the trilogy match. Deontay Wilder want his revenge, right? Therefore, during all of these conflicting reports by old media, whose side would you say is telling the truth? The side that's desperately trying to get out of the fight without honoring the rematch clause, which is the Tyson Fury side, or the side that's silent, that have not contradicted themselves not even one time, compared to Tyson Fury and his team, who contradict themselves every other breath. Every other report that comes out of Tyson Fury camp, it seems to be different than the previous day. We all know Wilder wants his revenge, in which he applied his rematch clause right away. And it's important to note, when Tyson Fury offered Deontay Wilder $10 million to step aside in order to face Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder said absolutely no. There is no amount of money that is going to stop me from getting my revenge. Now, let that sink in. Therefore, let's get to the real business at hand. If you want to know the whole absolute truth when it comes to this matter, thanks to all of the conflicting reports that came out, well, you're in the right place. Subscribe and click on the notification bell to get notified every time I post or go live on Split Decision. It's a boxing debate / talk show, mixed, master engineered, produced by yours truly, Akhi, the past, present, and future undisputed, pound for pound when it comes to debating. So you are more than welcome to call in. Therefore, without wasting any time, let's dive into the business at hand. First things first, this all started due to the pandemic. Bob Arum came out around 6 months ago stating, because there is no crowd thanks to the Rona, then the fight between Wilder and Tyson Fury will be postponed, in which actually the trilogy fight got postponed on more than one occasion. Because according to Bob, there is no money without the crowd. They cannot lose out on this gate. This is important to note because it was Bob Arum who insisted the fight cannot go on without a crowd, including Tyson Fury himself. Therefore, the deadline being expired on the rematch clause is completely false due to multiple factors that came into play, including the pandemic. So yes, the deadline is on December. However, that can't be an issue because it's October right now. Second of all, everything got postponed, everything got pushed back due to the pandemic, in which it will affect the rematch clause by most likely extending it. Therefore, Tyson Fury cannot surpass the rematch clause. He has to honor his part of the deal, since he agreed to it leading up to the rematch between him and Wilder. Therefore, it does not matter what type of hope insurance Tyson Fury has. It could save him from cheating, from loading up his gloves, from taking steroids and blaming it on wild boar, to threatening a 70-year-old farmer in order to stop him from cooperating with UKADA. However, it won't save you from that rematch clause that you agreed to. That's why it's a bunch of rubbish by Tyson Fury and his team. It does not matter how many reports come out. It does not matter who the entity that's reporting. From Sky Sports to BT Sports to the biggest old media outlets, none of that matter. They could try to paint the narrative that Wilder is not next. However, as long as Wilder want the fight next, and he guaranteed the fight next on paper, that's what really matters at the end of the day, or at least the night. I even read a report, as you all see above, that tried to paint the narrative that Wilder bicep injury, it's what's blocking the fight at this point, and that Wilder is not ready for the Trilogy fight due to his bicep injury. So in other words, they speaking for Wilder without speaking to Wilder. And what they pretty much did is take words out of context and date out of place in order to confuse all of the fans that don't know any better. They pretty much took an interview that Wilder did on PBC podcast about 6 months ago, then wrote an article on what Wilder had to say, as if Wilder did that interview today. That's the type of manipulation that old media applies on a lot of casual fans that don't know any better. But that's why new media is here, to clear up all the smoke and mirrors. Therefore, at this point, we already know what time it is. It's clear as day. Tyson Fury been trying to get out of this fight from the jump. He desperately been trying to avoid a Deontay Wilder Trilogy match. Because according to Tyson Fury himself, he said, we're not going to fight Wilder without a crowd. But now all of a sudden, when fighters actually fighting in arenas like Errol Spence and Gervonta, now he wants to get out of the Trilogy fight when it's actually possible to fight in front of a crowd. So it's clear as day Tyson Fury is trying to apply everything in his power to avoid this Trilogy match with Wilder for the obvious reason. Now he cannot outdo himself. Let me emphasize. Usually in the sport of boxing, when a boxer fights a banger, when a pure boxer that have so much skill fights a power puncher that only has power, what usually tends to happen in a rematch is the boxer is always ahead of the banger, right? And we could say that was the case for Wilder versus Tyson Fury. However, in the rematch, Tyson Fury didn't just display his boxing skill, and that's what really won him the fight. He also displayed our Mike Tyson type of power. He went from the pillow-fisted Tyson Fury to the Iron Mike Tyson. Tyson Fury managed to hurt Deontay Wilder every other punch. He even hurt Deontay Wilder with a jab. I kid you not. So, wouldn't that make the Trilogy fight even easier for Tyson Fury? Because now he knows Deontay Wilder kryptonite. Now he knows he got nearly as much power as Deontay Wilder himself. And according to Tyson Fury and his fans, they claim Wilder have zero skill. So at this age and at this time, Wilder cannot improve according to Tyson Fury. So what does he have to lose? And why is Tyson Fury desperately trying to escape the Trilogy match between him and Wilder when that's just an easy payday from the outside looking in? Well, the sad truth is that Tyson Fury cannot outdo his performance without tampering with his gloves. I could guarantee you 1,000,000% that Tyson Fury would not be able to get away with cheating, loading up his gloves against Deontay Wilder in the Trilogy match like he did previously. If you don't believe me, all you have to do is peep how Team Povetkin inspected Dillian Whyte gloves in the dressing room. And we already know Dillian Whyte is not even the criminal. It's Tyson Fury. But That's just an example of how the word got around. Now they paying extra attention to them gloves, thanks to Tyson Fury cheating tactics. Therefore, Tyson Fury is not going to get away with tampering with his glove this time around, which smelled trouble for Tyson Fury because now he cannot display that same power in order to keep Deontay Wilder off of him, let alone stop him. Therefore, you could definitely anticipate Tyson Fury fighting differently, possibly having a different game plan for the Trilogy fight than he did in the rematch. One thing for sure, he might resort to more dirty tactics than he even did in the rematch. So that's something Wilder should train for. But I spoke to Team Deontay Wilder, and they confirmed and they insisted in the Trilogy match, Tyson Fury is definitely going to feel like Tupac, but not in a good way. All eyes will be on Tyson Fury gloves. Therefore, he won't be able to cheat this time around. That's why Tyson Fury is desperately trying to find a way out, ladies and gentlemen. And the reason all of these conflicting reports keep coming out is because old media is desperately trying to get Deontay Wilder to come out and break his silence, because his silence seemed to bother Tyson Fury and old media. But I could promise you one thing. Deontay Wilder is definitely loud and clear behind closed doors, getting the job done, getting the Trilogy fight done with the big announcement that's coming along with it. It's like a package deal, like the one you get from Amazon. So you could expect that coming soon. For the meantime, according to inside sources, Wilder versus Fury Trilogy match will go down February 2021. However, according to Frankel, it will go down December 2020. Only time will tell. However, it's ironic to me that Tyson Fury is desperately trying to pursue the Anthony Joshua fight, when truth be told, Wilder versus Fury Trilogy match will be bigger than AJ versus Fury at this point. We all know the Big Buster fight was always Wilder versus AJ. Tyson Fury really doesn't have a big fan base, hate or love it. One thing for sure, Tyson Fury fans are pretty much Wilder haters. But why is Tyson Fury trying to escape all of that money he could make with Wilder in a Trilogy match, when we know the glove gate became bigger than the money gate itself for Wilder versus Fury? Naturally, Fury versus AJ is a bigger fight than Wilder versus Fury. But thanks to the glove gate controversy and the racial issue that's involved in this fight, they treating Wilder like he's George Floyd in the sport of boxing. Due to all of that, this fight broke the scale when it came to the magnitude of how big this fight gotten. And Tyson Fury noticed, because he even responded to the glove gate accusations at some point by trying to brush it off. However, it ended up backfiring, exposing him further. That's why he desperately trying to avoid the Trilogy match by trying to escape the right hand of justice by Deontay Wilder. With that being stated, this is all I have for you guys. Subscribe below. If you're trying to get smarter by the minute, if you're trying to get dumber by the second, don't. And listen to these decaps that dumb, casual-ass fans / old media that don't know shit about boxing. Word to Roger Mayweather, may he rest in peace, inshallah. Shout out to Deontay, my Akhi, my broski, the entrepreneur of new media that I'm a part of. And if you're a casual fan and you want to be a hardcore boxing fan, all you have to do is subscribe and click on the notification bell to get notified every time I post or go live on Split Decision. It's a boxing debate / talk show, mixed master, engineered, produced by yours truly, Akhi, the past, present, and future undisputed pound for pound when it comes to debating. I got these decaf shook. They scared to look every time Akhi's on TV because the truth is always bad news for these decafs, since the truth happened to be their kryptonite. So to all of the decafs in the comment section / the keyboard warriors, if you got some cojones, call in. Stop eating that contaminated meat, that wild boar that's not allowing your cojones to grow, and quit treating Akhi like the Iron Mike of debating, like the young Devin of debating, and just call in. I won't hurt you physically. I'm just gonna hurt your feelings by telling you the truth in front of the whole world. So call in, tune in. A million of you decafs can't hold me back. I ran out of decafs on split decision, so I'm willing to pay a decaf to call in. At this point, I'm more than 1,000-0, and not a single decaf's dared to put the blemish on Akhi record. Do you know why that is? Because the truth is undefeated. That's why Akhi is undefeated. The show is called Split Decision for a reason. There's always two sides to each story. However, when the truth is spoken, the other side is nothing but a lie. It could be my take, your take, but the truth take always separate. What's done in the dark will always come to light. You could hide anything but these three things: the sun, the moon, and the truth. Is inevitable that they will always come out eventually. It might take some time, but they will always come out. So with that being stated, to all of the decafs, if I had a lower IQ, I could have enjoyed y'all pathetic debates. So please come with better points next time, because the points you guys bring to the table, I dead ass lose brain cells listening to you guys. Hopefully I'm donating some of my brain cells while I'm schooling you decafs, because I get dumb about a second listening to you guys. And to all of my Akhis, I've been humbled by the love and support. Join me tomorrow on Split Decision, and to be continued on the next episode of Akhi TV. Peace, and we out here.